Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, boys and girls. How we doing? We all well? 'Tis Monday. This is the first week that actually feels like the start of a week. I'm just getting the coffee brewed. It's nearly finished, and I'm getting the WoW clients and stuff up and open. So give me 2 minutes, and we'll get it on the go. Enjoy the puppies for a few more minutes. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, boys and girls. Good mornings. Thank you for holding with me. Got to get some coffee this morning. It is cold. Holy balls. I took the dogs out for a walk this morning, came back inside, looked at the temperature gauge. It said minus 22 degrees. I was like, holy, it's chilly. So I've got some coffee on the go. I've had a quick shower, and we're going to start posting some auctions, I think. That one. There we go. Get them all in roughly the right place. Now, this bottom left-hand corner one, you're probably not going to be able to see it very well, are you? But nearly time to put the heating on. Quite definitely. We got some slightly student tunes on the go today. I apologise for those who prefer the more sort of chill, sort of like dancey kind of music. I had an affliction for listening to some Limp Bizkit yesterday, and this playlist has kind of stuck with me. Or it's not a playlist anymore. Spotify is just automatically playing similar tunes, but some of them are absolute classic bangers. So, right, what I do have to do first thing this morning, though, before we do anything else, is relist all of my items. Get the auctions posted. No posty, no selly. But also, we can loot the mailbox of any sales we've made at the same time, which is cool. Gnomes, tower defense, very fun. Think you'd like it. It's a very simple, straightforward name. We can have a look. Yeah, Finnish people are putting on a second layer of clothes. I'm trying not to die when I step outside. It's kind of crazy. It's wildly cold this morning. But the good thing is, it seems to have chilled all the dogs out a touch as well. We've not had too much crazy going on. I mean, there's obviously always some crazy, but there's not been too much going on. I've just noticed that mobile view has been all loopy-doopy for a day or two. Nobody said. Right, okay. Loot some mailboxes. Oh, that's a good start, isn't it? No sales. No sales. Cracking start. What next? 10,000 gold, plus or minus a few purchases. It's going to be interesting today to see the grand total of the gold because over the weekend I expanded even further from the 20 or so realms. We sort of started to work into 40 or so realms, and I've taken it one step further and thought, fuck it. Spent a bit of gold, and we are now flipping on all 80 realms in the EU, which is kind of scary. Quite quite hoping the market doesn't fall out its ass in the next 2 days. I'll be in the hole pretty substantially if that's the case, but let's get some stuff posted. Let's loot some mailboxes and let's see if we're rich, shall we? I'll also, at the top end of the stream today, for those who catch the VOD as well, have finally finished and published Goblin Guide to Decor. I've been working on this for a couple of weeks. Now, obviously, with Christmas and everything getting in the way, like actually finishing it took me a little longer than I wanted. But it is done. It's out there. So for any of my gold goblins over on Patreon, it's available instantly for you guys. So if you are a gold goblin, jump into the Discord. You should see it in the premium section. It's about as detailed as I can get it without it being just like silly level of detail. I'm trying to like find this line. I do have the tendency to just like verbal diarrhea my way through describing things, which like I know to like novice goal makers it's probably very useful, but it's just word vomit to a lot of people who already roughly know what they're doing and are just looking for like the juicy tips. I haven't quite figured out how to find that balance. Because the Goblin Guide to the War Within, for example, was too wordy. Far too wordy. Needs to somehow be less wordy. The Midnight one will be less wordy, I promise. Oh, 20k here. We take 20k. 50k. Hello. I'm not going to be able to see this one quite so well because it's behind my big face, but 50k on this realm. 3k on this realm. Not really selling anything over here. Where's this? Blackmore. That's a buy realm. 5k over here as well. 20k average across all of the realms will be like 800k total, which would be cool. Could live with that. That ends up being a rough average. I've actually gone as far as to just like hold off on posting all of my other flippable stuff, just purely to focus on Decor for a couple of days. Just so that because there are a couple of realms where I am now starting to get a little bit too much stock, and I feel the need to move it around a little bit. I don't ever want to be posting more than 100 things, because then your post scan starts to get slowed down and it all starts to get a bit wibbly wobbly. I don't want wibbly wobbly. I want smooth. Is this why there was no deals over the weekend? You were buying out all the cheap stock. I think I'm pretty sure I spent about 3 million gold on Argent Dawn. So yeah, probably. Probably. I see your tunes pop up all the time, Woo. It's a bit of a telltale it's you, because it's always got... You have the same telltale... Your character names are themed, should we say. I don't want to dox you too much, but I see your characters all over the place. 20k again here. We take 20k. Only 2,000 gold. Nada. And 6,000 gold. We can get everything relisted quickly, then we can go and figure out what the hell we're doing with some other bits and pieces and stock and stuff. See if we can scout any more bargains. There were a few non-woos, 80% of wooish, yeah. It's kind of quick to fire through these though, when you don't have to like cancel anything off or worry about anything. You're just slamming everything back on the auction house. You can do this process pretty quick. Man, think talking about 20k, me getting happy getting coppers back on hardcore. You on the hardcore craze at the moment, are you? I can't remember what it's called, but the German OnlyFans has kind of swept the nation. Oh wow, that's a lot of items to not sell anything. Ouch. Where's this Bloodhoof? Bloodhoof, you are dead to me. Oh Jesus, I repeat, you're also dead to me. 6,000 gold. Nada. Jesus, that wasn't a good combo, was it? They were stinky. Sauerkraut, I see. We decided to do something similar. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I saw a few people jump on that. I've never really I've spoken about this before in a bit of detail, but I've never really been too big into either the classic variations of the game, or especially hardcore. I I don't pay anywhere near enough. See, if I was to play hardcore, I just wouldn't be able to play it on stream. Which, for me, 90% of the reason why I'd play hardcore in the first place is because I'd do something stupid, die, and it'd make a clip. But I'm like, ugh, I like, there's a limit to how much clip farming I want to do. Maybe one day if we get into, like, big viewer Andy numbers, then we'll play the clip farm game a little bit more, but not really my jam. First time I actually had to filter on Twitch by language. Oh, what? Because there's I mean, I think it's good though. It shows just how big the German community in this game is. Flipping huge. And I guess it's at least somewhat attractive to even those who, because, 18k here. I come from the land where we speak English, and we only speak English, and we're stubborn as all hell about only speaking English. But great majority of Europe speaks multiple languages, or at least has a reasonable understanding of other languages. So I'm sure there's quite a lot of people that can at least tune in and know roughly what's going on, even if they don't understand every word. Swedish is meant to be pretty similar to German, for example. Even though they're, two very different countries.
Is that your wallet? Are you just glad to see me?
There's lots of people out there, I reckon, that can enjoy it. But shows the German community is big. Big when it wants to be. Huge, in fact. Senti with a tier 1. 26 months. Thank you, my man. Appreciate that. Good morning to you. Hope you had a cool Yule New Year Eve. I did. Thank you. We had an amazing couple of weeks. Oh, you're in Australia. Yeah. Oh, my God. You've just come from summer then. That's wild. You've gone from one extreme to another. From summer all the way to definitely winter. I hope you had fun over there, though. So I hope you said hi to Goldson. I don't know how long. I don't know if I'd survive in Australia though, in their summer. I'm all right with good heat, but I don't know. I guess as long as I guess it's a country that's designed for good heat, so there's probably lots of aircon and stuff like that as well. 33 to -3. Oh dear. It's like yeah, it's minus. It was -22 degrees when I took the dogs out for a walk this morning. And with -22 degrees to step into the studio that I keep at a constant 20 degrees, that 40-degree swing of heat was just like stepping into a sauna. It was really weird. I imagine it's the same when you get off the plane. Once upon a time, English was also similar to German. I mean, you'd have to go back quite a way, but yeah. I mean, us British, we are the great pillagers, aren't we? We steal words from everywhere. 26,000 gold. Only 3,000 gold. Single sale. Nothing sold here. 2,000 gold. I wonder if we're going to get any realm that does over 100k. Because these numbers are going to be interesting, because this is purely decor sales as well. There's no sprinkling of other random something or other popping up. This is all just simple, straight up decor. Yo, Wild Strobe, Piers. How you doing, man? You good? Still living your best life? Which is probably outside of Azeroth, I'd imagine, most of the time. Is it some sort of bank holiday or something today then? What's going on? What's the I know my wife's off today, but it's because the 6th is a day. The 6th, tomorrow's a public holiday in Finland, so my wife took today off as well. I've seen Azeroth in quite a while now. Yeah, I can understand. Red Star, thank you very much for the follow, by the way. I appreciate that. Good morning. Seeing you kind of answered in Discord, the inscription data collection seems to me that many yields in many professions are bigger than ever now. It's concentration cooked. I mean, I've said from the very early stages that I am wildly concerned about the state of concentration crafting, and it's for many different reasons. 40k here. We'll take 40k. It's only across 4 sales, but one big 17,000 gold kebab. Yeah, boy. 18k here across a few sales. 21k across 4 sales. The numbers, like, per item are not really ever much above 10k these days, but they're, you know, still doubling the money most of the time. Bunch of stuff here, 46k. Margins are getting a bit squeezed on this, which is why expanding onto more realms is a little bit scary, because we're going to have to shift a bunch of it before we recoup, but... yeah, I like the concentration situation, like, it's due to many factors, many small little factors, and this is why I think it's so hard to get my point across to people about concentration, because, you know, it's a little thing here and it's a little thing there, but those little things add up, right? So, you know, taking ingenuity refund down from 100% to any number under 100 is a significantly bigger nerf than most people believe. It's going to limit the amount of items you can produce with a full bar of concentration. And now you might argue that, well, that just means there'll be less supply of something. But another one of the small things to consider is that people now are going to step into the war within with significantly more alts, who are able to churn out concentration than ever before. And the barrier to entry to press the button is like 0. You don't need a single knowledge point on half the builds to start spamming out concentration crafts. Now, sure, your concentration usage will be quite high if you do absolute 0 build, but people will counter that by just having, oh look, 25 million more alts. 20k on this realm. Only 2,500 gold, a single sale of some in. Nothing. 10k. All in all, I am somewhat slightly of the mindset that the concentration options, a lot of people are putting all their eggs in it. It's a basket they're putting all their eggs in, and there's going to be a lot of people trying to extract value from it this time. And I'm not convinced it's going to be as lucrative as most people are hoping it will be. The hopium huffing is pretty strong. At what point do you decide Decor isn't selling and that it's time to stop? I mean, I never, right? Like, I can't explain clearly enough that Decor is the new thing. Yeah, 2032. Like, Decor is the new thing. There is, and there has been gold to be made with concentration for with transmog forever, with pets forever, with mounts forever. Decor is the new one of them. Now getting the setup up and running now, while the risk is relatively low, 43k on this realm, is exactly why I'm doing it now. Because I also think we're going to see a transitional shift when we move into midnight for Decor as well. The chances are that when all of the new shiny shinies turn up in the new expansion, the amount of Decor being created will fall off a cliff. Sure, it may only be temporarily, but it definitely will. Now, what that does to the market prices and stuff, I don't know. It depends if the market's big enough for it to hoover up all of that stock and to start seeing some things, run out. But if nothing else, you know for a fact that many people will just stop posting it on the auction house, even if it's still in their bags, just because it's midnight and there's many distractions. Decor's not going anywhere, trust me. I wouldn't have spent about 30 hours writing a full guide on exactly how to utilize it, from literally picking up your axe to this setup, if I thought it was just going to be like a fart in the wind and in 2 weeks it'd be done. The fact that it's crafted does mean that the numbers for it will get squeezed over time, because there is there is an actual cost to producing each item. Not like transmog, where you can just farm it and get lucky and get something big, rare, and expensive, and farmed it so it's free. But much like pets, mounts, and transmog, toys, collectibles, recipes, that sort of stuff, I don't think it's going anywhere. Not for a while. Soonest everybody realizes that this concentration alt craze is going to take far too much time to produce nowhere near as much gold as they're hoping, and people start looking for something different, then I think people might start getting their lumber axes out again. Abundance is level 90. Abundance is not level 90, no. You can do abundance at level 80. There's no level restriction to abundance. We proved that on stream the other day. $20K over here. 30K. 15K. Not big numbers, but mostly something on every realm, which is what we're after. Decor seems nice, but not worth resubbing for. For most people, it's quite effort heavy because you have to farm the lumber, right? So for a lot of people, it's going to be very, very effort heavy. But once you do start making some gold with it, once you start having 15, 20, 40, 100 pieces of decor to sell, the sales will be consistent enough to give you the incentive to maybe keep whacking away at those trees and farming up more lumber, or it will give you enough of an understanding about the market as a whole to spot when other people are selling their shit cheap, and you can move into the flipping scenario. And the way I've written the guide for it is that that's a point. Is Streamlabs here this morning? Streamlabs is here this morning, yeah. The way I've written the guide is in a way so that it naturally suggests to people that they slowly move into cross realm and then potentially flipping. Because that's the end game for people. But for many players, it will take some time to get to the point where you can do that, you know. 15K per realm times 80 is still 1.2 mil. It all adds up. Well, flipping out. There we go. Yeah. Quick maths there. Yeah. Napkin maths. I wouldn't worry too much about the numbers in Inscription right now. And the reason I say that is because last time I looked at Inscription, it was still completely cooked. The recipe difficulties hadn't been balanced. The material quantities hadn't been balanced. There still looked to be an awful lot that was unfinished with Inscription. Now, we can obviously hope that it doesn't go live that way, but this is Blizzard we're talking about. Let's not forget they let leatherworking go live the way that it did. And I think most people know how much gold has been made from leatherworking materials this expansion. It's a number that rhymes with euro. It's and that was because they made all of the intermediates too easy to min max. Do you remember if we had patron orders and the weekly profession quests up in the first week, or did we have to wait till season 1? They were up in the first week, but they weren't available for early access. Early access doesn't give you any of the weekly stuff. You'll get your first... When the expansion launches, like properly launches, then that's when you get your first round of weekly activities. So if you pay the premium, get those 3 days early access, you'll be able to chip away at the basics, but you will still have some stuff that you won't be able to do. But early access is more about an efficiency thing for me, really. Early access is more about getting characters in, getting their professions. If any of them really strongly need lots amounts of knowledge points, maybe doing the knowledge point farm. And getting a few characters leveled up to 90, getting my main characters up to 90, for example, is a good thing for early access. If dungeon grinding ends up being even modestly worth doing. It'll be a good quick way to level up because you'll have all of the Giga Chad mega OP geared players that'll be doing the same. So dungeon queues will be nearly instant and just zug mode. That's the kind of things I'll be doing in early access, I think. I say I think because I haven't really given it that much thought yet. Oh no, who stole me? Oh, I was using the wrong long boy. Whoops. Few items that are not being relisted. These are items that can get put back in a bank/war bank, redistributed somewhere else. Inscription's been the odd one out pretty much from the start, with glyphs losing their value. It really struggles. I mean, glyphs hasn't been Inscription's thing for years at this point. Glyphs were dead the second they went they went region wide. Ooh, 43. Whoa, a few sales there. 43k. Oddly, only off not like 9 sales though. The average sale value is quite low right now. Oh, 76k. Hello. Whole bunch of stuff. Gilnean rocking chair, 27k is the big one out of that list. 64k? Okay, these were better realms. I can take some of these. 17k for Predator's Assortment. Mechagon Artificial Sun. Okay, sure. Yoink. Another thing I might do today is look at an alternative way of sourcing cheap decor, because using point-blank snipers very fast, but it's not very sophisticated. It's fast, but it's not clever. So I need to either retweak some settings or look at maybe the possibility of using a TSM shopping scan, because I can be more clever with a TSM shopping scan, even if it makes the scan slower. But I'm not in too much of a rush to buy too much more. Pretty heavy day spending yesterday. Need a few days of selling. Yeah, Tulok. I mean, it's very good feedback to Blizzard that you've seen it and it looks very, very unbalanced. It's very good feedback, but I've not looked at it in a few weeks, but assuming nothing has changed since I last looked at it, I was almost certain that it was all placeholder values. Like the material the quantity of materials needed in each craft was like 1 for everything, which is just like defaults. The recipe difficulties didn't look to be balanced correctly. There was so much that looked wrong with Inscription. But like I said, that still doesn't... It's still good feedback. Use your report feedback button. Let them know. Scribe Basin 30k. We take that. It's if we see significant changes being made to the professions, like finishing polish, and then it's still busted, then we have something to worry about. Depends what the aim is with Dark Moon cards as well. In fact, last time I looked at it, you could make a Dark Moon card from like just 2 inks or something. Which would either mean the inks would need to be very difficult or very expensive to make, or Dark Moon cards are going to like be 10 a penny again. So they either need some more mats or something going on. Like I said, it all feels just like no balance has really been done. Foundation is there for the profession of the, okay, you make inks and, you know, inks go into making this, but how much and that sort of stuff doesn't look as if it's had any tender loving care sent its way yet. Yeah, we should get a new build like very soon, I think. Blizzard take this sort of 2-week period off over Christmas and New Year mostly, and I think since they just pushed housing and they've got pre-patch for a couple of, you know, both classic and retail and stuff soon, I think we should be due some big patches for the beta pretty soon. But the question is how much work, if any, has really been done over the last couple of weeks. But okay, another 60k here. Love a 60k realm. 62 items and didn't sell a bean. That's not fun. Oof. Didn't sell anything here either. Oof. Okay. 1 good realm and 3 stinkers. Need less stinky stinks. Pigments are looking like the best item to recycle for engineering as well, so that could be good for inscription. Could be a good combo, yeah. I wonder if they're going to do anything with the, what are they called? I still want to call them Baby Sparks. They've changed their name, haven't they? They're not Sparks of Beginnings anymore. Spark of Vanity? Are they Vanity Sparks? What are they called? Can't remember. But if they do something with those, making those tradable or opening them up to the wider market, that could cause engineering to be a big, like the recycling and engineering could end up being big business if those things become tradable. Or if the vanity crafted cosmetic items are then sellable, whichever way they do it. I think one of them needs to be tradable. Otherwise, it completely locks the entire system down to flipping work orders again, which we know what that does to markets. Kills it dead, because nobody cares. There's no ability for people to, like, drum up some interest by pre-crafting things. Can you imagine if Decor was work order only? Ugh. And Blizzard knows this, right? Because they could have made Decor work only, but they know full well that when somebody wants to put something in their house, they don't want to have to wait. They know that the work order system promotes people waiting for their thing. Now, if it's a piece of player power, they can force people into waiting, and people will still say, okay, this is a negative, but I will wait for it. People, like, you can't get people to do that on cosmetic-y kind of like casual stuff. So if they lock down the Vanity Spark system to a work order only system, there's the possibility that it ends up just being dead on arrival, which would be really sad because it's it's got the option to be a clever little market. Figuring out what you can craft, which you can then recycle to generate your baby sparks at the lowest price, to then be able to craft vanity-based cosmetic items that can be sold. It's got Shadowlands Legendaries / Decor wrote all over it again. And it'd be really cool, but they gotta let us trade some of it. They can't lock it all down. I apologize if people don't know what I'm talking about here, but check out engineering on the beta. And check out the Spark of Vanity. Some professions borderline require epic crafting to reach 100. Vanity Sparks could be the only way to do it, making engineering good. Yeah, it kind of won't be, though, if they lock the entire flipping system down. Like, this is the thing. They've got to let some part of it be tradable. You're right. Some people might need to craft those end game recipes a few times to get those 3 skill points, 2 skill points, or whatever to push to 100 skill. Or at least might some people want to do it. Whether it's needed or not is another question. But even if people want to do it, people might look at doing it that way. Look how people did it in Dragonflight. You know, they'd cheese trial accounts to get free sparks. It was completely silly, but at least this way it would let people get some cosmetic items out of doing it, but still think they need to open the system up to the wider audience a bit more, make some part of it tradable. Either the sparks of vanity need to be tradable, or the base cosmetic items then need to be tradable. Either way they do it, goblins will have an opportunity to do a bit of front-loaded effort and craft a few things and put it on the auction house, which is genuinely all we ask for from a new round of professions. Really, give us something cool and interesting and juicy to craft and sell. Like, I'm fully in that mode right now with Decor, and this is why I'm hopping on this bandwagon pretty aggressively at the moment. Oh, these have been some better realms. 20, 50, 25k, and another 30k. Those have been some better realms. It's going to be interesting to see what our average realm value is. Only flipping Decor or also crafting it? I'll farm lumber from time to time and craft a few pieces as well, but it's, for me, I am one person crafting. It's a bit of a drop in the ocean compared to what I'm able to do flipping it. I could barely have this list on one realm if I was farming it myself personally. So I'm now at a point where the farming isn't particularly efficient for me. But I've always had this mindset of that farming is a means to an end. Farming is what you do to generate some capital to then go and do things that aren't farming. It's at least my perspective on it. Some people enjoy farming and, you know, are happy with the results. Does it make any difference to disenchant 81 or 90 gear? Do they yield the same? I've not tested disenchanting yet, so I don't know. Chat might have a better idea. It usually doesn't make any difference. But like I said, we're moving into a new expansion. This is why we test things, to double check. 30k on that realm. 10. Wow, 75 items and only one sale. Ouch, Medivh, you are dead to me. We've had a few stinky realms there again. How do you actually learn the Spark of Vanity recipe? I've got 94 engineering on the leveling realm and don't have it, nor do I see it in unlearned. It's not a recipe. You don't craft it anymore. It's a random proc. Well, when I checked this, it was about a 2 to 3% proc chance when recycling that you just get a Spark of Vanity. There's no recipe to craft them anymore. Yeah, once upon a time, right at the very beginning, there was a recipe and you could craft them, but not the case anymore. Which is also why there's a good chance that some people aren't actually stumbling across it, particularly on the beta, because it's not obvious and in your face where they come from. Of 30 points into the recycling tree for them to start procking as well. Okay, so there is a knowledge point requirement at least. Is there a garden to plant seeds this time? I haven't stumbled across like a garden type area, not like what's in Hallowfall, but there is seeds and there are soil patches. There might be somewhere where there's a clump or cluster. But nothing like what is in Hallowfall. Not that I've found, at least, anyway. Right, we've nearly quick-fired through all of these realms, getting everything relisted. A couple more realms to do, and then we can check the numbers. I'm only really interested in revenue right now. I spent a lot of gold yesterday buying up some Decor 2 flip. I know everything I am selling, I'm selling for a profit, so I just need to worry about the revenue. How many more realms we got? 2 more? Oh, well, 8 in total, but 2 times 4. How are we doing, Chris? Welcome in. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Oh, 55k. That's better. Quite a wide selection of low tier decor as well. 58k. Now we're talking. 15k. Nothing. Okay, it was going so well. And these are overnight sales as well. These aren't even like, you know, these are from like 8 p.m. last night. There's not. This isn't like 2 days worth of listings. Are you making gold with Decor now? Well, absolutely everything I'm selling it for more than what I paid. So yeah, from literally day one, I've been making gold with Decor. It's recuperating investments has took a while to begin with. It took 6 days to get the system profitable. But since that, I've expanded from just 20 realms up to 80. So I've had to spend quite a bit on stock recently. But my hope is that it gives me the ability now to sell about 1 million gold a day. Which of course is not all going to be profit. But a good chunk of it is. Yeah, I'm quite deep in the hole right now, I think. But you got to spend gold to make gold. $16K here, 6K, single sale, nothing. Okay, that was the last of them then. So I think our biggest realms, we had quite a few like 50, 60, 70K realms. So what's my guess with this? My guess is about 800K, I think. Because all these little numbers do add up quite quickly. I think we did about 800K overnight. And since I've been live less than an hour, we can use Journalator's last hour numbers. Add it all up. Last hour. Okay, calculator time. What we got then? 465. 424. 259. 314. Boom! Fuck it up. I take that. I take that. Okay, if we can do 1.5 million, if we can do 1.5 million every day, I'm happy as pig in shit. If I can do 1.5 million in sales every day, that's awesome sauce. With a bazillion characters on multiple accounts, how do you keep track of it all? I don't keep track of it very well. It's the answer. I get the feeling selling Decor has slowed down. I mean, and it will go down a lot more. I'm not sure if it's smart for me to stack up on lumber before midnight and then choose to craft it. If you farmed it, you've put the effort in. Craft some stuff and get it sold. You've already spent the time. Get paid for it. The only people I'd recommend to stock up on lumber are those that have already, done huge amounts of lumber farming and have already got a huge inventory of stuff they're selling. Once you've basically got one of everything pre-crafted and for sale, you can just use your lumber. You can farm up more lumber and stock it up. Use it to resell what's sold, and then you're at a nice you're at a nice plateau point where you just recraft what you sell. And if you wish to farm up more lumber, that's up to you. But even getting to that point is quite difficult. If you farmed up the lumber, though, just craft stuff and get it sold. Like, honestly. The waiting and the hoping that it will be somehow worth more in the future is usually not a good play. Just craft, sell. Craft and sell. I use WoW thing. I don't know if it tracks multiple accounts. I mean, it does. Yeah, my WoW thing is one way of which I track things. Do I have a window with WoW thing open somewhere? Obviously, it requires you to have the WoW thing add-on, and also preferably the little desktop application to update it all. But WoW thing does track different accounts and stuff as well. That can be a way to do it, but okay. 1.4 million sales overnight. I'm happy with 1.4 mil. Now what I need to do is decide if I'm content with buying Decor the way I've been buying it, which is just doing a point blank sniper scan. That does have the downside of predominantly promoting the smaller, cheaper Decor, which is good for turnover, good for revenue, but it's not the most profitable. There's part of me that's tempted to try and be a bit smarter with TSM prices, but I'm not sure if it's worth the time or the effort. Can I put these back in their proper spots now? It's slowing down because Monthly's monopolizing it. I'm just taking it where it needs to go. I think I spent about 3 million gold yesterday on Argent Dawn buying up cheap stuff, so just build a custom string. What, you mean a custom sniper string? Love the emo teenager playlist. There is some older vibes in this, yeah. You or your viewers probably buy most of my stuff at this point, I'm sure. Don't matter who buys it, sale's a sale. My bank characters are usually not that easy to guess, so I'm quite sure people don't buy stuff off me just because it's my bank character, for example. I don't try and hide my bank character names, but they're not all Manthy Bank, for example. I know I'm on Banktheus right now, but most of my bank characters, you wouldn't know they're me unless you knew they were me, sort of thing. Hosting half of these mats using the default auctioning operation is also flipping terrible bad practice, but if I now the way TSM sniper strings work is that you don't select groups which they work against. When you press start sniper, for example, you don't choose the groups you want to scan. So if I've got multiple different sniper strings on different things in a profile, it's going to scan all of them, which slows shit down loads. So if I am going to build a TSM sniper string for Decor, I would also have to then move my Decor out of my regular flipping profile and make a separate Decor profile, which then it means I have to switch between it from time to time, which I know can also be macroed. Just whether I want to go that level, not sure. The alternative is I just don't mess with it at all and focus more on just selling what I've already got. I really want a Sethrak bank alt named Snake Oil, please, Blizzard. Yeah, people have wanted the Snaky Boys for a while, haven't they? I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be a cool playable class. Give me Murlocs though, man. I just want Murlocs. Obviously I'm a goblin at heart, which is why a lot of my characters are goblins. But you gave me Murlocs as a playable class, I'd be all over that like a rash. Do I want to be more controlled with where Warbank access is given? No, I don't think I do. I'll throw everything in the guild. Redistribute that way. And then you could name one called Fish Oil. Yeah, true. Just do 2 scans with point blank sniper, one at 50 and then one at 80. Yeah, see, this is the scenario, right? This is the scenario. Like, changing the method up too much might take too much time to be worth. Point blank sniper is without question the quickest way once you have a shopping list. And, you know, you could do one lobby level 1 to buy the cheap shit and make sure you only buy it really cheap. I've trimmed out the worst selling decor from my shopping scans. Yeah, this is the other thing, that as soon as you start getting something stocked up more than you care for, you could just you can attach a TSM string to a point blank sniper scan, by the way, but it's total arse. Oh, you mean to actually hack it in as a price source, you mean? Use a custom price source and then use that as this. Yeah, that's possible. Possible, but a little bit above what A, I can be bothered to do, or B, I think is sensible doing even. This is the problem with point blank sniper, right? You can only use a flat percentage. Now a flat percentage is great in some scenarios, but it's terrible for others. Oh, is it Gramos who's figured out how to do it? Is it? Hang on, I'm intrigued. I don't think I. Who does it for pets? Does he? Oh, I will watch that later then. I will watch that and figure that out. See here, for example, I can set the percentage to 80, but I know most of this I absolutely definitely don't want to buy. That it's all... This is where, you know, market knowledge is more useful than anything else. Using point blank sniper is great if you just want, like, to buy things for less than about 3,000 gold and sell them for about 10,000 gold. But it's not going to help you on the mid tier or even the most expensive decor stuff. But the mid tier and the most expensive is actually slower selling anyway because of its natural higher price. Like a scaled Twilight Mosaic, for example. This thing's market value is 26,000 gold, and I'm going to assume that's because it uses a flipping crap ton of lumber to make it. The problem is less than, like, they just don't sell. Like, the sale rate on these is phenomenally bad. Not even one per, you know, not even one per realm sells a day, which means people are just not interested in it. So I absolutely don't want huge of them. Isn't Cthulhu completely worthless? I mean, that's my macro server. I don't post there. This just happened to be the first character that I'd logged on to. This wasn't the best example. It was not the best example. I don't have too much listed here. I've only got less than, I've only got 200k worth of stuff listed here. But, Drainic Basin, buying it for 10,000 gold, it means I'm going to be able to list this most play. My minimum price for listing this would then be like 15k. But the reality is on most realms, this would probably then get listed at like 26 to 35,000 gold. Using point blank sniper is good for the really cheap stuff, but it doesn't often pull up many like actual bargains. Shame it doesn't exclude items that have low rates. So this is the kiss curse of point blank sniper. Point blank sniper as an add-on is very good because it's very quick, but it's not very customizable. Now, I could go through all 240 pieces of decor and manually attach a price of which, if it turns up under that, I will buy it. But then that also doesn't dynamically change when the market changes. Which is also something I don't then want to do because you have to keep going back in and redoing that. I'm looking for something a little bit more flexible, and this is why I personally, for most things, tend to lean towards TSM Sniper, because you can do a lot more clever stuff with it, but it is a lot slower. Now, that's not too much of an issue for me when I am doing it on 4 accounts simultaneously, because I can usually set them to go, and results start turning up by the time I've got them all going. It's, it's not so slow, but it's also not the best. But I am very tempted to build a custom sniper string for Decor. Lady Daisy with the 30 months.
Glad to see me?
Thank you very much.
Both,
welcome in. Good morning to you. An incredible number. I appreciate that. Wait, hang on. Making dinner for breakfast is so peak on days off. I love being a degenerate who doesn't care about the norms in society. It's now it depends what time breakfast is, If you're making dinner for breakfast because you went to bed at 5 a.m. and got out of bed at 4 p.m. No, I mean that is equally degenerate, but just in a different way. You could make way more gold farming your own lumber and distributing it. Golds, are you funny? You funny. Farmed it, so it's free. Farmed it, so it's free. I think what I might do for now is do a high ticket scan, but just ignore most of the cheap stuff. See if I can get any deals on bigger ticket items. We're doing this, we can go like this again. 80, 80, 80. Now this is going to throw up a lot of false positives. most of the shit on this list I definitely won't want to pay any attention to. But something like a Gilnean rocking chair, for example, I sold one of them for like 30k earlier today. So these become more possible flip items, and it's also a prime opportunity for me to look at some global data on these. Have a little look at housing, decor, go. Let's make sure we got it in arbitrage mode, go. Get a little bit more info on the go. Now I can start doing a little bit more research on a few things. Scaled Twilight Mosaic, 25,000 region, 25,000 gold is the median price. This is the thing, right? Might not sell as high, might not sell as quickly. But it's only available for cheap on a few realms, but then when you chop off this cheap area, then all of a sudden you're looking at like 20, 30,000 gold quite quickly. Some realms that don't even have them listed, for example. Do you have a means of sorting your posting characters by the realm population? If you're doing 80-20 and max efficiency, scan the full pops first. Other than just reordering them on my character list, no. But I have actually been thinking for a few days about putting the buy realms, which in turn will probably end up being the full pop realms, to the top of the list. Just so they're all somewhat at the same sort of place, if you know what I mean. It makes a big difference. And also, more than that, I can actually also back this up with a bit of data. So, for example, I can go into these and I can search for by character, like where I've bought the most shit from, and I can put those characters closer to the top. So where I have frequently bought lots of things from. You know, so Kazakh, for example, I've bought a shitload from. Antonitis, for some reason, I've bought a lot from. Blackrock, Twisting Nether. These are characters that should go higher to the list because I tend to buy stuff from them a lot. And that's a trick I could do with all of the characters, I suppose. Silvermoon, Dentag, you know, this is naturally pushing the realms I end up buying most of my shit from to the top of the list. Put those characters high up on my character sheets. Probably not a terrible idea. Yeah, Argent Dawn. Okay, I didn't quite spend as much gold as I thought I did on Argent Dawn, but easily one of my biggest realms for buying Decor is Argent Dawn. Eschkenkessel. I don't even know what that realm is, but I've spent nearly 400k there in the last month. Yeah, that's probably a smart play, actually. Move those to the top. What's the add-on called in the upper left of the window? This is Goblin Toolbox. It's got its own channel. It's made by Woo. It's not made by me, but there's it's available via my Discord. Got the Goblin Toolbox. It's got its own channel. Or do you mean? Do you mean this one? This is Journalator. Or Journalator. Whichever one you mean. See, with the bigger, more expensive stuff, I also want to be a little bit more constructive with where I take it as well. Probably, maybe, possibly. This is a little bit more of a didn't I sell one of these kebab platters for like 17k? I think I did. Now I need to start looking for the stuff that's not the cheapest. Okay, that scan's gone completely cock-a-poo-poo. I also need to put any decor that has for some reason not been relisted back in the guild bank. Okay, this seems to be pulling up nothing anymore. Wait, why would that be not pulling up anything anymore? What's going on here? All of those listings a minute ago? Fake news? What's going on? I might switch this to keys as well. Keys is much faster. Mogu lightning drill doesn't sell very often, but that's pretty cheap price. You said, Drizzling Rose, you said you're doing dinner for breakfast. Is that chicken with sausages, mushrooms, and rice? I can't tell what that is. Those mushrooms need frying off properly, though. So yummy. It does look tasty, man. I'm not gonna lie, it looks tasty, but those mushrooms need frying off. Pork, mushroom, onions, cocktail sausages, cream, lots of sauce. Oh, it's paprika. That's what it is. Okay, it looks tasty. Paprika. Why didn't you log in? Go. Go, gadget, go. Now, also, one of the things I probably could and probably should be doing is just cancel scanning this stuff, but now's not the time to be doing that. Cancel scanning is cancel scanning is an evening activity. Dalaran Runic Anvil. Search information processing required to use this mode. Well, why does it not have that in the first place? All right, sure. Be done at least a round. Continue doing at least a round. Do keys. No starting scan as item information is unavailable. Huh. Okay. Has anybody had much success changing the scan mode in Point Blank Sniper, by the way? I just use it on blank most of the time. But keys is like almost instant, but there seems to be some prerequisite to you being able to use it. Do we get a reset on that? I'll have a reset on that. Put the other ones in the bank. That realm is dead. This realm is dead. This realm has got lots of options. The question is do I care about any of it? Bookcase. The big old bookcase. People like bookcases. How many of these are there? There's a bunch of them. 4, 5, 6 bookcases. Your work here is done. Your work here is done. Next realms. Day 5 smoke free. Decided to farm 1,000 lumber from all of the current expansions to give yourself something to take your mind off it. Hey, that, like, if you can get by day 5, surely you've crossed the hill, right? Good effort though, man. Well done. Not something I've ever had to do myself, but I hear from many it's very difficult. Breaking the habit is more of a thing. Recipes from an old paper cutout my mum used to cut out of food magazines when she was 16. Wow, okay. That looks like it's straight out of a Reader's Digest kind of magazine. Right? This is why people can't this is exactly why people today can't cook, right? Cuz shit like this doesn't exist. All your recipes come on TikTok. And if your recipes come from TikTok, right? By the end of the day, it's lost. You need something, something physical. No. How did you get Warbank access? Twas not the plan. Sneaky sneak. Also smoke-free since March 2018. Good effort, Goldson. Keep it up. I can cook beans on toast. I used to be terrible at cooking. I'm much better these days. I live in a country where like home cooking is like a much bigger thing. Living in the UK and like having money basically meant I never had to cook anything because you just order shit all the time. But now I live in a country where the takeout options are basically non-existent. The emphasis on learning how to cook stuff becomes more important. Do we want a hot tub for 3.5k? No, we don't. Campfire? Flip a few campfires. There only one. Couple of cheap campfires. Does the Orobos Exchange have an in-game add-on and price source I can use? I think it does, doesn't it? Does it have region median? Does it have region median as a price source? Fucking super clever, that would. At least useful information to see. Right, what we've got going on over here? Don't want any of that. You're rubbish. Storage chest? Meadery storage chests? I don't think these sell very often. But they're more high, what's the word I'm looking for here? They're high lumber values. There's another possibility. Start switching this up by doing some sort of search, like based upon how much lumber shit uses. Blackrock lampposts. They really don't sell very often, surprisingly. Glass tables. I've got a bunch of these already. I need to sell a few of these, but also a high lumber value on. What we got going down here? Oh, big boy fountain. The reality is I don't have many of those. Is there somebody posted a shitload of them? No, just one. Well, if it's just one, we'll probably just flip it. Probably just flip it round. We didn't... Oh, okay. Sure. Got an error message at gold limit. I mean, there are worse error messages, aren't there? Stop! You have too much gold! You rich bitch. Definitely worst errors to have. I do food prep every patch. Release, sit down and just play. Vegetable sandwiches, boiled eggs, chickens. Now you say I wish I was better at that sort of stuff. Let me put it this way. I'm reasonably good at like just following a recipe and making something that's resembling the recipe. But you know, the food prep side of stuff. My biggest problem, right, and this is real first world problems. My biggest problem is if I eat the same thing too frequently, I get hella bored of it. And my attachment to food is quite fuel, you know. It like I don't have the biggest attachment to it. Food is mostly fuel to me, but there needs to be some rotation of taste, if nothing else. which, you know, cooking like a massive pasta dish and having pasta for lunch every single day for a week would actually just like push me off a cliff. I just wouldn't be able to do that. Tapestry of the Five Nights. Got a bunch of these already. They don't sell particularly well, but the market value on them is naturally high enough because it contains quite a bit of lumber that I'm willing to buy a couple more. There was only one cheap one anyway. Sold something on this realm already. What we got going down here? Not a lot. Oh, nothing up here. Well, that's it's easy. Proud more shipping crates. They're quite cheap. Where are we? Grimbaton. Literature books. They're relatively cheap, but I can double my money on those quite comfortably. Well, turns out there might not be too many of them. Double money on those. About the blue ones. Okay, somebody's clearly crafted a whole bunch of these on this server and just slammed them in. Which means we'll have a cheeky reset on those ones. Gilded Zandalari tables. That's very cheap for that. Sale rate on these is bad. But I'll have a reset price on one of those. Stellar console? I genuinely don't think I've ever had one of these. Sure.
Let's make sweet, sweet profit together.
Omega with Prime. Top tier priming. Love that. Thank you. Great use of the Prime. Do people buy these fountains? It doesn't look like it. Only one every 3 realms sells every day. But I want a few more bigger ticket items. You do not have enough gold. Oh, okay. Well, that means we've spent way too much. Whoops. Overspent. We're starting to see a lot of decor turn up, though, where people have very clearly undervalued their lumber, which is an indication that even if you buy it off them, they might not go out and farm it again. Because, you know, a 10k sale is nice. But if it was like 30, 40 lumber, you know, people are going to be like, oh, I'm not doing that again. Pinged you a link that might be useful. And never don't look at a woo link. Never don't look at a woo link. EU realms by population. Have a little look. Oh, Jesus, that's tiddly. I was about 3 pixels on that image, woo. I'll use the link. I'll use the actual link. I'll take a look at that later, thank you. What's this playlist? I need it. It's not a playlist, it's just Spotify doing its thing. It's literally just my Spotify just playing. Okay, that's them lot done. There's no more decor in their why does this guy have nothing in his mailbag? That alone is relatively scary. Why does this guy have literally nothing in his bags? Where's all his... Oh, because for some reason it's made it onto the auction house. Okay, that wasn't the plan. Sure, don't matter. I must have accidentally posted everything on that realm. People working out that buying the token is better use of their time than farming the lumber. It takes some people a little while to sort of do the maths on this. Like the lumber, like lumber burnout is real. Lumber burnout is definitely real. This is why the way I've structured my guide for Decor is to slowly sort of rotate people out of farming the lumber. It's as close to my Decor guide is now as close to a sort of a full Goblin journey guide, based on my principles of being a Goblin anyway, which are to farm as much as you need to farm to build up seed capital to go and do cleverer things with your time. Because the interesting thing for me about Decor is that it kind of forces you to be a bit of a jack of all trades goblin. And if you're going to have to be a bit of a jack of all trades goblin, then you might as well also look at the options of, like, you know, building up a bit bigger. I'm doing this on 80 realms, which is outrageous to most people. But you can start with like 3 or 4 realms and then move up to 5 realms and then 10 realms. Like, you don't have to like shoot for the stars from day one. But I think getting comfortable with it now is really worth doing, since there's not a huge amount else going on. And on top of that, I foresee it being something that's relatively evergreen. I think this is going to be a nice little way to make some gold for quite some substantial time, if I'm honest. A weaver's loom, that's a very specific item, isn't it? But there was only one of them on that realm, which means we can get a bit of a reset on the price all the same. Wow, there's literally only one here anyway. I mean, unironically, this is something else I'm seeing. Even if you don't shuffle the decor around from realms to realms, I'm seeing so many places where there's like one posted and that one is violently undervalued. Because when some people come to the auction house to post their piece of decor, if there isn't any decor already there, some people are like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I literally don't know. Literally don't know what to do with it. And that's also very clear at the moment on the smaller realms. People are just guessing when it comes to posting prices. And sure, some people guess right, but there's a lot of people that guess really wrong. Like here, there was only 2 posted. The only 2 posted were posted below the regional sale average. Which means I can take one of those. instantly reset the value on that from 10k up to 62k, put the other one in the guild bank, send it somewhere else. Job done. Who wants to play Flipmaster 3000 all day, every day? It's an alternate style of gold making for sure that doesn't appeal to everybody, but much like farming doesn't appeal to me. Oh my god, sure, we'll have both of those. I don't really want any more of those glass tables. I need to spread those out a little bit more before I buy any more. I've already got an entire guild bank of stuff I've bought that needs redistributing though. Whew, passing me the ball. Once sales will slow, he will stop. You'll know when that happens. It's raining right now though, and I'm happy to get wet. People actually pay 60k for a single piece of decor. I have 20 mil, and even I think that's too much. My top sales on Decor, some of the numbers are like outrageous. Like I've got an entire list here above 92,000 gold. Like some of these are just outrageous. Never underestimate the amount somebody will pay for something in this game, especially a cosmetic, because it's so personal. Player power stuff, you can often compare it against, like, okay, what gives you more player power? Hence why mythic BOEs sell for more than heroic BOEs, which sell more than LFR BOEs. But on cosmetic stuff, the variety in what people will be willing to pay for something is just monstrously different. Kev with a resub for 6 months. Thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning. How are you doing, Jack, as well, by the way? Welcome in. Do these chandeliers move? Not very frequently, but worth having a few of them, especially if we can repost one for like 25k. Is there anything else we want from there? One of them straight back up. Bonuses in the guild. Stupid beanbags again, man. Those flipping beanbag chairs. Oof. Boy, do I hate those beanbag chairs. Tauren leather fence. Fences are weird ones. They basically never sell, but then somebody comes along and buys 10 of them. Nothing else in there that appeals to me. Speak to me. We got over here. Algari fences? They're pretty cheap. They're below 50% sale average. Oh, we're on Hydro night right now. There could be some bargains over here. Tome of Maldraxian Rituals. It's cheap. Is it cheap enough? Probably not. These rocking chairs are good to distribute about. I like chairs. People will often buy them with less thought. Wooden table. Tables are big lumber values. Where's the really good stuff on this realm? Dalaran display shelves? They're not cheap enough. That stupid fountain. Titanic fountain. It's really specific. Very low sales on those. Double money on those. Bookcases. I like cheap bookcases. Right, we spent too much on that realm again. What I'll do once I've scouted the region for some cheap deals is all of this stuff in the guild bank will relocate it to the war bank, and then I'll syndicate it out across a few realms that are short on stock. I only sell the fences. I keep 20 posted all time, and every now and then they get bought. But I actually enjoy farming the lumber. I mean, this is an absolutely stonks market if you can enjoy the farming of the lumber. Like, genuinely. It's not as quick and as frantic and instant sales as, like, farming herbs and ore. But it'll be a lot more of a long-term win. Blackrock lampposts. Sale average on those is horrendous. The way I look at it is we did what was it, 1.4 million in sales overnight? If I take that 1.4 million and spend it again, then we haven't profited any, but we're probably going to have substantially more stock than we did. Which is kind of the way I tend to treat most of this sort of stuff. Is I will reinvest 80-90% of any revenue again, and just keep selling. I did very similar thing, like so much deja vu with Shadowlands legendaries right now. It's actually scary. Because I used to do the same with base legendary items in Shadowlands. If you could get a cheeky reset on an item, just do it. Buy out 3 or 4 of them. But what I did with legendaries back in the day was 10% of everything that I sold. So if I sold 1 million gold of legendaries, I'd put 100k in the guild bank, and just that's like the savings account. And then the 900k, I'd spend it again. And you just rotate your seed money as many times as you can, shaving off 10% every time you sell something. And at the end of the day, you end up with an entire guild bank full of gold. And a huge amount of inventory. So you win. And I find this more engaging than just like flying around picking up herbs. If you don't sell Decor in a realm for a while, when do you decide to move away from the realm and find another one? A week, a month? I don't really have that much experience with that because I'm now actually selling on every realm in the EU. There's not a single realm where I'm actively choosing not to list stuff, but I personally would back it up with data. If I end up with a lot of high ticket value items on a realm that also proves to me after like 3 or 4 days that just really nothing is selling there, then I might consider throwing them all back in the guild bank and just like distributing them elsewhere again. But that's not something I'm really doing much of yet, because my posting price tends to filter out the realms where I'm not going to make many sales anyway, naturally. The bigger servers where there's a lot of stock already is often cheap enough already that my items don't get listed. And so I learn that very quickly. The difficulty is when you get the low pop realms that are so low pop, the price is high, but there's absolutely nobody buying anything anyway. That gets a little bit difficult to figure out. But then you've also got to be careful, because if you take all your stock off and move it somewhere else, there's nothing to say somebody isn't going to come along the next day and just buy one of everything, which has actually happened to me. So sometimes what I'm trying to get at here is I don't think it's probably worth micromanaging it that much. But if you're farming the lumber yourself, you probably do want to pay a little bit more attention to it. I don't know. Probably not very helpful advice. I don't want any more of those glass tables. I got enough of them already. We've got here tapestry, the 5 flights. It's less than half price. Don't sell very well, but they're relatively cheap. Somehow I need to produce 8 rank 3 flask cauldrons in 2 weeks. Oh, you designated alchemist, are you these days? When I can be bothered, what I did with the pet realms was I recorded the revenue for 30 days per the realm and then prioritized posting on the realms with the highest returns and then just cascade it down. Yeah, that's one of those things where you got to kind of let your data tell you the answer. But if you're at the point where you're posting and sell, if you're farming, let's say you're farming your lumber and you're posting on like 8 realms, you're already way ahead of most people who are farming lumber and only posting on 1 realm. So as long as some of those realms are performing well for you, give it a few days, you'll start to see patterns, right? You'll start to see, right, if I post my decor here, it just moves. and it's not moving here, well, then I'm going to move it off here and put it on. Like, the answer will show itself, I think. Right, what have we got here? Titanic fountain. Not a bad price. It's probably not the region best price, but I've also not got much luck selling these so far. Fence posts, noodle dishes. We're getting into the cheap shit again. Blackrock's usually a good realm for some cheap stuff, though. The higher value stuff has a significantly lower like daily average sold value, though. Meaning I'm less inclined to drop big money on it. Might be harder to get that quick flip, get that return on the investment. Also less competition on posting them though, which is always the bonus. Any bargains here? Augustian circular rugs. I actually sold a few of these. I have a couple more of those. And that's less than half price, even though they're not big sellers. Down here, Half Hill cook pots. Love these things. Love these things. Yeah, boy. I'll have me all of those, please. Not only do I get a reset on the cook pot here, but these cook pots are big business. How many cook pots have you sold? Enough for me to remember the fact that they're good. And that some of my, I've sold quite many of those cook pots at like 30, 40, 50k a piece. Weirdly, kitchen stuff has kind of done really well. Kitchen stuff has done really well. Anything that goes anywhere near a kitchen. A lot of the food stuff has done really well. The cook pots have done really well. Replica awaking machine status pod? I literally don't even know what that flipping thing is. I've got a few of them already, apparently, though. It's 5k good price on those. Eh. How many are there? I'm going to have to buy 5 of them. Alright, sure. One back on. Rest in the guild bank.
Let's make sweet
This part of the whole
profit
adventure
together.
is a little bit slower and a little bit more methodical than just slamming auctions up, but it's the bit where you actually make, like, this is the effort that actually makes you the money with this. Obviously, looting the mailboxes is good fun. Zin Power with a 46. Massive numbers. Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Hope New Year is treating you well. Aldraken Gilded Throne. Somebody posted these for as low as 5,000 gold recently. Woof. Spicy meatball. Why have I got actual sales data for Area 52? How the flipping hell's that happened? Do I want 6 of them? They're not that cheap. YOLO. Okay, is that team done? Need to make sure I don't spend too much though. I'm a little bit trigger happy with the spending at the moment. I'm out of coffee though. Oh, that was the that was the grainy bit at the bottom of the coffee. It's because the filter in my coffee machine isn't exactly great. Ugh, please hold. Got that for something a little bit more serious. Monster o'clock. Sun's out. The wife's gone to IKEA today, or is going to IKEA today. I wonder if she's gone already. Because I wonder if she doesn't go in for a little bit, I might go and eat 12 hot dogs. Although going to IKEA is very dangerous. Because nobody has ever walked into IKEA and come out without buying something. when I only want €4 of hot dogs, a trip to IKEA can get unnecessarily expensive. Now you know how it feels to swallow something bad. I have no idea what you're talking about, Jack. Reconstructed Mogu lightning drill. What the Christ is that? Reconstructed Mogu lightning drill. 32,000 median. 300 of them. Plateaued. Easy 40, 50k. Weirdly clumped up at around this sort of price point. Odd. Oh, there was only one at good price anyway. Yeah, sure. Send it somewhere else. Grand Drapes of the Exiles. That's a recipe I don't see very often. An item I don't see very often. Meaning I'll have a few of those just to have a few of them. Now we've got enough to try and sell a few at least. 3k on the fences. Okay, the wife hasn't gone yet. Chat, do I dare go to IKEA? Do we think it's a sensible move? Do we think going to IKEA can ever result in me not spending a bunch of money? All for the sake of a hot dog or two. Get some Swedish meatballs. Oh, that's also a possibility. Storm Song Stove. Sold a few of these. Also got a few of these. Do I want more of those? Sure. Flew over Goblington Palace Gardens today. So many default houses. We are the worst neighborhood ever. I think, whilst we may have the most, we all live in caravans, but it's the richest neighborhood just under the hood. You know, we don't outwardly flaunt our wares, clearly. That's quite funny. I don't want any more of that. That looks rubbish. Right, there's them lot done. I do have the horrible feeling I am spending a little bit too liberally. But we started the day by looting 1.4 million. We should at least spend 1.4 million, shouldn't we? Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Best sellers list. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Bejeweled Venthyr chalices. Big sellers. 2k average profit on those. Venthyr anima bottles. Yep, sold a fair few of those as well myself. It's interesting you're using TSM for this as well. What we got going on down here? Lobster platters. Yep, kitchen stuff. Cheese platters. Yep, agreed. Goblin string lights. They were much more popular right at the very beginning. They're very, very cheap most places now. But yeah. Yeah. The your quantity of items resold is actually outrageous, by the way. Across your 4 accounts. That's 2,000, 3,000, 3,600 items, 3,700 items resold already. That's actually pretty wild. And when you look at the average profits on these, it's no surprise that you're, up 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 million gold? No surprises. Good effort, man. Started very early. Yeah, exactly. That's a really good example for people of where, when you have a bunch of capital, spend the damn stuff. Scale as fast as you can, as quickly as you can, because that's where the opportunities are at their greatest. I'm always, one step behind the big boys. I'm always a little bit late to the party. But this is because I don't actually have billions and billions of gold anymore. I have enough, but an awful lot of my gold is always in items already. What time is it? 1 o'clock. I think I've accidentally agreed to go to IKEA with a wife. This could be dangerous, but we're going to take the dogs to a dog park as well. Sun's out. Might be flipping chilly, but oh shit, we're on Twisting Nether. That means a lot of stuff is cheap, but I have to be overly careful not to splurge too hard. Interesting me. There's not a lot of stuff here I'm actually that interested in buying, which sort of surprises me. Why are you using time on low pop servers? I've been trying that for years, and the gold income in them is so slow. Well, the easy answer to that question is until I've got solid data to prove I shouldn't be here, I'm going to be here. I've for example, one of my biggest mailboxes was on a basically dead server, which under most circumstances people would have probably told me to completely 100% ignore. And then I logged on one day and found 2 million gold of sales. So it's crazy things do happen. You know, if I list 100 items on a server and after 30 days I've sold nothing, then I might agree with you. But at the moment, I'm expanding as rapidly and as quickly as I can to as many places as I can. And so far it's worked all right. Anything here? Glass tables. I've already got a bunch of those and I've found them cheaper, so I don't want any of that cheap stuff. Oh, we're flipping now. All right, Chamber of Aspects. We've gone and sold 30k of stuff already with that one post this morning. Not a single cancel scan, by the way. Tempest Keep cryopods. They weren't so goddamn expensive. I might be interested. Frostwall Forge. I'll have a couple of those. Name cauldrons. I'll have a couple of those. Rib platters. These are easy flips, but they're not cheap enough. They're not cheap enough. Those bookcases are that one bookcase was very cheap. Now we're into the cheap stuff. Right, we're up to nearly 2 guild banks full of stuff now. I need to move some of this about. Windmills. Don't sell very frequently. Cheap enough, I'll have a couple. Yeah, I'm very aware that there are slightly more efficient ways to like scout for deals as well. It's it is an area where I could definitely improve and spend less time doing it, but Do you think that once midnight comes, the old content farming will slow down, lowering stock? Often you would assume that one thing leads to the other. Yes, I do think when midnight turns up, one thing that you can definitely say for sure is that there will be less people going around, flying around, picking up lumber from all the old zones. Now, what that does to the stock levels, what that does to the market prices, you can't directly assume that one thing will happen because something else happens. But I am in agreement that I think when midnight launches, there'll be so many shiny distractions that there'll be less lumber being farmed for sure. Now, if that has a knock-on effect of their, things selling out or prices rising, then awesome. But I'm not I'm not assuming that's the outcome. But yeah, there'll definitely be people that will, right now there's fucking nothing to do in the game. So clearly, when there's nothing to do right now, there'll be plenty of people willing to go out and farm lumber. But as soon as midnight turns up, there will be so many distractions. You can bet your ass people will stop farming. Half-hill cook pot. What's the median on the cook pots? $25. 369 of them. Oh, there's only one cheap one. Where's the Blackmore? Apparently has all of the cheap ones. Around the 10k is still a good price. Chandeliers, there's double money on chandeliers possible. Why can't I click this? The TLDRs I never really know, but I know one thing I do know for sure right now is that Decor is a bit of a boom market, and due to it being the new collectible, the new cosmetic, the new shiny thing that goes along with player housing, the one thing I am absolutely certain of is that it's here to stay. Okay, we're on to Gilbank tab 3 now. This is starting to get a little bit more. I need to definitely start spreading some of this out. And ultimately, even if the entire thing completely crashes and burns, there's a lot of... I've learned a lot from Decor in the last 4 weeks. It's pushed me yet even further into multi-realm flipping, which not that I needed much of an excuse, but it's nice to be able to get this sort of setup done during a period of time where there's also some relatively quick fire, easy turnover things to flip. So I'm even if in 4 weeks it crashes and burns, I like it's still a win as far as I'm concerned. My fences, they're too expensive. I bought stuff on this realm already, didn't I? Is TSM tracking sales properly now? Like, is it genuinely resale groups decor? Is it tracking things properly? 386 items resold, 5.4 million profit. Yeah, I don't think it's tracking everything perfectly. And it definitely won't be on these other accounts. It's tracking some of it. Spend 100 mil on Decor Goldson, make a new YouTube series. Holy. Sad they patched the housing exploit farm. It was giving 150,000 gold an hour, raw gold an hour. Why are you sad they patched that? That's the kind of shit that takes all of the gold that you own and makes it worth nothing because it creates a bunch of inflation. It'll be skewed as you're buying and selling on different accounts. I don't trust the syncing. Yeah, I don't trust TSM sync at all. Like I've for quite a while now, I've just basically ignored TSM's tracking of stuff. I'm not overly convinced that it's I'm not overly convinced that it's even remotely close to accurate, but this seems to indicate that I've made a profit of 5.4, let's just call it 6 mil from this, which would be true if it wasn't for the 10 mil that I've probably spent on stock right now. Yeah, I'm not trusting those numbers. I'm not trusting those numbers. I'll trust my own intuition before I trust those numbers. Yeah, Journalator seems to do a better job, or at least it does for me. Journalator definitely seems to do a better job. But I'm only using any of them as like, you know, rough indication of what's going on. I'm only about halfway through in terms of like the buying stuff, and I don't want to spend too much longer actually doing that. What I might do is try and redistribute now. Who do I want to? Probably this account. This is probably where I want to put a bunch of stuff because this is an account that's got the least naturally. Having the separate data from the separate accounts isn't a problem because you can always just throw it in a spreadsheet and smush it together if you really want. That doesn't worry me too much. Now what I need to do is the slightly laborious task of taking everything out of the guild bank. The only reason I use the guild bank to put it all in to begin with is that shuffling warband access to the right account at the right time is a pain in the ass, and so I just don't bother. But when it comes to actually distributing this out across the different realms, I much prefer to use the war bank because you can quickly put items in it and quickly take items out of it. But it does have the restriction of that you can only have one account like predominantly in use when you do it. Oh, who stole the banker? Such a sausage fest of flipping long boys around this banker. Not so long I looked up Fred Durst on YouTube. The dude looks like a grandpa. Well, you forget that these bands are like forever old now. Because we're also old. So when do you buy Midnight on all of the accounts? That's a good question, actually. I can't possibly see the token being much cheaper than what it is right now at any time before midnight. So if you haven't done it, it's probably not a terrible idea to get it done. I've only got midnight on one of my accounts right now. I'll probably fix that soon. What is this? Dornick sliced mine loaf. Oh yeah, that's not in a group. I've accidentally somehow managed to miss that out of my groups, and I don't know how I managed that. Maybe it was one of the ones that in the first week was bugged. Wasn't that there was a couple of cooking recipes that were bugged to be bind on pickup, weren't they? They've since fixed them. I wonder if that's one of them. Which is probably why I didn't have it in a group to begin with, and now I need to re-add it back in. Seeing a bearded grandpa dancing and yelling give me something to break. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I remember being a teenager listening to Limp Bizkit and thinking that they were old then. So today they gotta be old. Okay, inventory's nearly full. Oh, I haven't quite got room for everything else. Don't understand why a piece of bread needs some lumber to make. Yeah, the cooking ones especially are questionable. Bamboo, you can kind of start to bamboo lumber starts to maybe possibly make sense, but even still, it's kind of tis a bit weird that this loaf of bread is containing much wood. A log of bread, yeah, exactly. Whole grain lumber in my bread only, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Crazier things have happened though. Okay. Add them up, flipping. There we go. I'll fix these loaves of bread in a minute. Right. If we're going to be on the one account, let's use it as a cheeky opportunity to do a quick cancel scan on these realms as well. Not necessary, but it doesn't take very long. Then we go pull shortfall from the bags. This is likely to be too much, so we'll do it a little bit at a time so it doesn't crash. Like that, for example. Damn. Never figured out a way to not make this crash yet. Even trying to do slightly smaller groups sometimes has the limitation of causing it to crash, but it's absolutely the quickest and easiest way to do inventory management, so wow, cheese is made from metal, mushrooms, planks of wood. Yeah. I'm with Jack though. Cheese is cheese. It's all good. Have you watched most cooking shows, especially the Great Bake Off or whatever it's called? Those creations. Most of the time, I'd rather not eat them. Who wants a cake that is drowning in spray paint, edible wax, and sugar paste? It's true. Oh my god, a lot of this is going on this auction house. I'm not sure I want so much of this stock here, but alright, well. It is what it is. It's like those is it cake kind of things. Like half the time I look at it and I'm like, I don't care if it is cake, I'm still not eating it. Like I don't care if you've made the most realistic elephant's bum hole, but it's actually cake. I'm still not eating it. It's like I mean, I can hats off to the creativity and the skill to make a cake look like something that's not a cake, but yeah, no. No, thank you. I'm going to crash it now, haven't I? I've just realised that's way too many things to move in one go. Yep, crashed. Mary Berry Elephant Butthole Challenge. It's a new YouTube craze. Don't crash twice in a row. Don't be a dick. Beautiful. Oh. Literally nothing is being posted here. Oh, it's because it's... Oh, this is Blackmore. Shit, this is a buy realm. Some things will go in though. Okay, surprisingly a lot actually. Is that going to crash as well? Please don't, please don't, please don't. Go on. Be nice. Be nice. Beautiful. There's a French guy sculpting with dark chocolate. His creations are insane. Chocolatier. Is this some TikTok thing? It must be, right? Actually, let's start by doing this. Not much on this realm. See, this is why I chose this account, because I'm aware that there's not a lot already on a lot of these realms. Spreading out a little bit more rather than clumping it all on 3 or 4 big realms on main account. Don't crash, don't crash, you crashed, son of a bitch. You got time selling stuff multi-realm such as profession tools and gear. If they have random stats, does it affect TSM groups? It does. You have to make sure that you add. There are 3 different ways you can add something into a group in TSM. You can add it by base item, which is TSM literally just looks at the name of the item and treats every item with that same name the same way. So it basically ignores all of the stats, all of the item level, everything. Base item is something that you'd use for like building a transmog group, for example, where you don't care about the stats or the item level. You just want to make sure that, you know, flipping legs of excellence are posted under other legs of excellence on the auction house, you know. So base item is good for transmog and stuff. Things like profession tools, you are going to maybe start caring about the stats on them, which means you're going to have to put them in a group using, I would say, specific, because the item level doesn't really matter, but specific will mean that you have to put the tool with the tool with multi-craft, the tool with resourcefulness, the tool with inspiration, the tool with speed. You'll have 4 different variations. But if you put all 4 of those variations into a group, when you then go and post them, it will only post crafting speed against crafting speed and resourcefulness against resourcefulness. It does mean your groups are bigger, but it's the way you need to do it for profession tools specifically. You don't want to start posting your multi-craft tools under the price of the crafting speed ones, because the crafting speed ones are dead and nobody wants them, for example. Is the slightly long way of saying yes, it does matter. But yes, there is a way to do it. And that should also, yes, work for things like warehousing operations. So if you have all of the tools in your war bank, you should be able to then select the group that has the items in, and it will pull the correct items out. I haven't actually tested that because I didn't do much of the profession tool flipping at the beginning of the War Within, but the theory says it should work. But theory ain't perfect. TSM ain't good at tracking the difference between the actual values of different items with different stats, though. The profession tools. Yeah, that's true. So if you look in your ledger, if you're trying to track your sales and that sort of stuff, and even when it comes to like restocking, restocking becomes a bit of a bitch for stuff like that, because you use missives to determine that you only craft the ones you actually want to then sell, or you play the game of craft 20 of them and hope they're not all crafting speed. But if you're using TSM to craft the things as well, then it falls flat on its face. You're going to do most of that legwork manually. We might take a little bit of a look at something like that in a bit more detail before midnight launches, because it will be a big thing at the beginning of midnight as well. It's going to be too much, or is it going to be able to handle these? Bingo. Super hot for a few months, also debating dabbling in that market. Yeah, this is the thing, right? This is what I was saying with Decor, is that even if you don't make bajillions of gold with Decor, and even if the whole thing completely crashes and burns, a lot of the things you learn by trying to do this with Decor can translate to other potential future markets. Getting this set up during a period of time where Decor is a bit of a hot commodity gives you the ability to set it up and figure these things out, and then translate that to other stuff. Whereas if you don't bother now, if you don't bother setting it up now because you're not convinced Decor will be a good seller, and then you wait until midnight launches, and then you try and both learn and implement and set up and do everything in one go, you might miss the boat on midnight launch. I don't know. But it's up to you. Obviously, all of this advice is only for NA players, by the way. Go compete with K-Check. I got enough dealing with Woo. Fashion accessories seems like the easier market to craft and distribute. Yes, true. But there's a lot of people. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, just true. Due to them not having variable stats. The other thing I would say with TSM is that the problem you'll probably stumble into is that TSM just won't support it all properly when the expansion goes live. Which means you kind of have to learn to do shit manually anyway, because there's a good chance that when midnight launches, it'll take TSM 6 months to catch up with new items and the likes. They're unfortunately pretty slow to react to changes these days. For example, TSM doesn't support inks. Sorry, not inks, dyes. Even to this day. Over a month into housing. Doesn't recognize the pigments as being crafting materials, doesn't recognize the crafting process for them. You can't restock dyes or anything like that. So they're unfortunately a little bit slow to react these days. But, you know, for the stuff they're good at, you can't knock them too much. It's one of those love-hate relationships with TSM. Love the stuff they do really well, but get really frustrated when I hope they do something and then don't. Most people selling Decor now will sell professional equipment later. The competition will be fierce. Probably. I mean, you're also going to be competing against everybody on those realms trying to craft and sell it in the first place, so... I don't mind the competition. Competition makes it fun. Woo! This is cheap realm. Oh yeah, it's Hydra. Not too much of a surprise there. Find the market where nobody's in it. Finding the loophole is fun. If you're also able to sit in that loophole for a while as well. I would agree with you, but I'm far too public about everything I do. If I was less public, I could probably find a few loopholes and join you in that fun, but sorry, Will, I'm going to undercut you here. Worcester sauce. Whoa, 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 whoa. I like the PvP aspect, it's evil, but I like forcing people out of the market by just being more efficient. Yeah. One of the best lessons you can learn about gold making is realizing that it is basically PvP in disguise. Just because it's not about pressing cooldowns and executing your rotation perfectly, it's still just as PvP as arenas. Two people try and sell something, only one of them might sell it. It is fun. I had a secret market in Dragonflight was doing over $1 million per day profit with no competition. There was a guy that was absolutely dominating the armor kit market in Dragonflight for a while with what seemed like next to no competition. Which was surprising because it wasn't exactly a secret market either. Still have screenshots of the death threats I got during Cataclysm when I owned the alchemy on my server. That's wild. When you start getting hate mail, you know you're doing your job properly. That's when you know you're winning. Okay, I have very rapidly cleared through the majority of that decor I bought earlier. Found homes for most of it pretty quickly, yeah. These glass tables appear to be a little bit more sticky than I expected them to be. This is, I think, one of those realms where I'm very tempted. It might not be long before I choose to take a bunch of the more valuable stock off it, because I think it's been a bit of a challenge to sell stuff over here. I had a secret prep for 12.0, but somebody else entered the market and I can't stock the mats anymore. I blame Wowhead. Yeah, Wowhead will do that. For the most part, though, I know it's a bit of a goblin meme. If you spend more than 5 minutes on the WoW Economy subreddit, you'll find somebody that's telling you that nobody will share secrets with you on this forum. And then you'll also find the people that will turn around and say, there are no such thing as secrets in WoW. And I think there's an element of truth to both arguments there. It's not that anything is particularly secret, but it's more about figuring out what's the area of the game where other people are just not already, got it on lockdown. You can either spend a lot of time trying to find one of those undersupplied markets, or you can do sort of the woo approach, which is just out efficiency everybody else in the existing markets. Both will definitely help you make some gold. And it's fun. Like playing a mini stock market without actually having to risk your entire livelihood. My home server, there was clearly a bot posting legendaries in Shadowlands 24/7. For weeks, I just nuked the margins. At one point, he offered me 200k a day to stop doing it. A few weeks later, he left the server for good. Yeah. Yeah. Can I just pay you to go away, please? Oh. That was the best thing. See, there was quite a few places where bots tried to dominate the Shadowlands legendary market. But the thing is what bots tried to do was just operate at a profit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which wasn't really how the Shadowlands legendary market played out. Most people who were serious about it understood that for 6.5 days of the week, you would sell at like 1% margins. And you were just turning over stock, turning over materials, and 6 days a week, people were getting their legendaries basically at cost on most realms. But the way you made a lot of gold with legendaries was making sure you're at the right place at the right time. Reset day was the one day of the week where you would all of a sudden see the entire legendary markets completely bought out, completely flipped, completely reset. And then that would be the day where you'd make stupid money. So the other 6 days of the week were really just sort of like, it was more of putting up a wall, putting up a barrier. It was the barrier to entry. It was basically making it impossible for anybody to get into the market 6 days a week. And then once that market was very well controlled, on day 7 or on reset day, you would just smash everything out. And that's why bots tried to do Shadowlands legendaries, and a lot of them clearly, I mean, sure, they fucking made stupid money, but a lot of them, scenarios like that would happen. They would just get annoyed because the markets were so tanked. It was all entirely by design. When you'd spent 30 million gold leveling up leatherworking in the first month of the expansion, it was of no surprise that some people used some pretty crazy strategies to keep their position in the market, not just let any random Joe in. And actually, in Shadowlands, you saw bots have far more success with the Crafter's Mark gear. because that was trickle sales most of the time, most of the week. Haha, a wild Bakoto appears. More that there are layers of knowledge, the public-facing internet, Reddit, YouTube, etc. only give you a superficial level of knowledge. The community in general shares a lot. It's normally in Discords and streams. Yeah, Discords, I think, now are the most prominent place for actually finding information. But the thing that Discords lack is like any real level of searchability. So you're incentivized, or the people that get the most out of it are the people that, even if they're not putting a lot in, they're at least there consistently checking up, you know? Also leads to one aspect of goal making that sets most people apart, is that if you're at least somewhat consistent with it, making gold is not that difficult. It's people who are looking for the get rich quick schemes who are then like, oh no, I'm new to the game. Why is nobody sharing any information? Because you've not put any effort in, you'll get nothing out. And people aren't just gonna hand you a silver platter at the same time. Make mistakes doing experiments, you'll just remain an amateur. Nobody's immune to making dumb level mistakes. %70 of Discord is no use at all. Yeah, it is a bit of a circus a lot of the time, but sometimes that circus is fun. Shadowlands, I remember buying items with the auction house via the mobile app because the normal app was stuck. Bought loads of the Corthia legendary mats at 1 gold with the phone. It's funny. What were they called? Pog Essence? Corthia crystals or something? Corthian crystals, I can't remember. Part of me that's blocked it out. The same in Elder Scrolls Online. I needed money, and since I always stored them, I had tons of a certain type of herb and needed fast cash for housing. I undercut the going price by a few coppers, not even a lot. Ended up getting death threats. But because I had thousands of the herbs and other players used the new base level alongside me, they go for days. Yeah, yeah. People get very defensive over their wares. Have I been going up the list or going down the list? A bit late in the day to figure that out, isn't it? I think I'm going up the list. I usually start at the bottom and work the way up. So much crap on Discord with all their games and shops and skins. Well, that's true. I live in a bit of a bubble on Discord. Like, I'm going to be brutally honest. There's very few Discord servers I live in apart from my own. And I would only spend a fraction of the time I do on Discord if it wasn't for the fact I run and have my own server. Because yes, a lot of it is just a clown show. Oh well, hang on. The interesting thing for me is where Reddit has literally lasted for God knows how many years now, and has subsequently ended up being like the font of all knowledge on the internet, because everything is like quite publicly being documented. The issue is that over the last 5 to 10 years of everything moving slowly but surely to Discord, and none of it is being well documented or syndicated anywhere else. Like the long tail value of Discord is like nothing in comparison to what Reddit's done. And so it's kind of weird to see just how aggressively it's trying to be monetized and stuff now. I would absolutely love it if Discord would like properly sort out the forum style threads and give some actual more moderation and tools for them. I mean, I have there's a channel in my Discord called Ask a Question, which was my sort of like testing the forum style stuff. The problem is there's no tools for me behind the scenes to like set up tags for them or make them searchable or even have the threads stay there for any longer than 7 days at a time. It's like, yeah, it's difficult. I quite often find myself wanting to do things on Discord and not being able to. Discord will have an IPO very soon. Do we think? I think like who owns Discord right now? Nobody. Discord owns Discord. Okay. I was half assuming somebody had already bought it. So it's a weird. Discord's a weird one because it acts very much like a social media website without actually really being a social media website. The problem is attention is worth money. There are flipping bajillions of people on Discord these days. Have you ever bought or tried on what's this poll? Jack, I don't understand the poll. Microsoft tried to buy it for 10 billion. Discord will make a $10 billion deal to sell all of our data to an AI firm within 12 months. Is that what you think? What's kept Reddit afloat? The AI deals? Yeah, Reddit had a bit of turmoil for a few years, didn't they? They've probably sold enough data to stay afloat, though. Data is the new gold, yeah. Reddit's generated significant revenue from AI data licensing, notably a reported 60 million annually from Google, with a similarly lucrative deal with OpenAI, projected to collectively earn Reddit around 203 million over 3 years leading to its IPO, with these deals making up roughly 10% of its revenue. Well, these AI companies, if nothing else, understand that, like I said earlier, the font of knowledge on the internet is Reddit. But the only reason the information is valuable is it's because it's one human talking to another human without any vested viable interest. This is why blogs and Google and most websites you could just put them in the bin, because the vast majority of them are just there to churn ad revenue. And so when you actually try and read an article, it's borderline impossible. And so hence why Reddit stood out as being the place that you ask a question and somebody will come along and give you an answer. Nobody's got any financial interest in either side of that story. And so it's, relatively straightforward, useful information. Most other places on the internet, it's just a flipping fiesta. The only problem with Reddit is that it's politically influenced. I've seen lots of things about the fact that the Reddit moderation is handled by a very small select few, which is where that political influence probably stems from. But I think people are very politically influenced these days. So there's no surprise that the websites in which they frequent also end up being very politically influenced. I've been even contemplating for a little while. Now, my opinions of Kick are not that fond. I'm not particularly a big fan of the underlying cash flow situation of Kick, with it predominantly being propped up by gambling money. But I'm going to be honest, Twitch isn't doing themselves any favors, and YouTube's not exactly been without its controversies over the years. I'm more and more starting to believe that there's to be on one, you might as well be on them all, is the point I'm trying to get at here. Like, they're almost as all equally guilty these days. And so, considering I already stream to both Twitch and YouTube simultaneously, my moral obligations against Kick are starting to slide, if I'm honest. You got the bandwidth to be on all. I don't see why not. Well, that's starting to be my perspective on it, but never watched a single stream on Kick. Promoting people to gamble is almost as bad as hard drugs. No way, I'm out. Well, the thing is that there's an entire, look at YouTube, look at Twitch. Like, these are equally two platforms that have an awful lot of gambling promotion on. I don't particularly like the underlying finances and funding of Kick. I will agree with that, but if you are to call someone unsaintly while still streaming on a competitor, it is to assume that you believe the other is of better moral standing. And the issue I'm having these days is that I don't particularly agree or believe that either YouTube or Twitch are any more holy in how they operate, who you know, how they work. And it's more along the lines of like, if to take a moral standpoint against one is becoming way more difficult to do these days, when they all are starting to feel a touch you know, Twitch is probably the most aggressively monetized platform via ads that is on that's on the internet right now, which is, yes, you can niche it down into like what type of ads do they display and this sort of stuff, but I don't know. It's like having the cleanest dirty shirt. Yeah, kind of. Twitch is Amazon. They are indeed. When we, us millennials, were kids, gambling was never exposed to us. It's in front of kids way too much and showing them extremely poor financial choices. Yeah, advertising has changed a lot over like 30 years. I mean, let's not forget though, like, sports gambling is flipping outrageously big these days. And if you live over on Team NA, you just absolutely cannot avoid it. It's being bombarded to you from every direction. EU is so far holding back on it a bit, but there's lots of countries in the EU where all sorts of sports betting is just wildly prominent these days. You go back 20, 30 years, though, it was all cigarettes and alcohol ads. So, like, there's always a vice. This is the thing. There's always a vice. The area where there will be the most advertising money will always be in the thing to where there is the most moral obligation to it. Every single sports channel is sponsored by a betting company here. Yeah, you cannot watch a single sport without some betting company promoting it. Sports betting will be one of the bigger issues of the next decade. Oh, I totally agree. 100% agree. 100% agree. I find it really interesting to see that, like, the younger generation now, they're not drinking. Right? It's weird, right? They're not drinking. Like, there is the younger generation have, and you know, hats off to them, a very healthy outlook. They're not smoking, they're not drinking, but sports betting, at least the male side of the population, at least, that's what will absolutely hammer them, and that's where their money's going. So all of this stuff is just slightly rotating and changing. And to be honest, I don't blame people for not drinking these days. It's fucking expensive. People used to go out to the pub and they'd spend 20 quid, they'd have 3 or 4 pints, they'd have a kebab and a taxi for the way home, and they'd be good. They'd get some socialising in. They'd have a good evening, and they were happy. Now, far too expensive to go out and do that, so people buy some drinks from the supermarkets, sit indoors, their mates come round, they watch sports, and they're all on their phone spending more than 20 quid on sports bets. Revenue in the US from sports gambling rose to around 2 billion to over 115 billion from just 2018. Woo! Yeah. Why do you think stake.com advertising deals are so lucrative? Spicy meatball. Okay, we can't seem to find many homes for these glass tables or these flipping candle businesses. Not on this cluster of servers anyway. Young'uns now live on ultra-processed garbage and energy drinks, though. Yeah, says me sitting here drinking a Monster. Indoors playing video games. I don't have a leg to stand on. Of course, I'm indoors. It's minus 10 degrees out. Well, yeah, true, but like, yes. Yeah, I walked the dogs this morning. And it was minus 22. Woo! That was a spicy walk, I tell you. Woof, indeed. Yeah. Dogs didn't mind. This is the advantage of having Lapland dogs. They've never they don't know what being cold is. They don't understand cold. I, on the other hand, hat, gloves, scarf, jumper, t-shirt, double thick coat, still freezing my tits off. Standing desk and a walking pad. I kind of wouldn't object to a standing desk. The only problem is it doesn't fit. I've discussed this a little bit before. I've even looked at some, but right in front of me is a sloped roof, so my desk can't go any higher than what it is right now. I'd have to pull the desk like miles away from the wall, and then the desk is just kind of like in the middle of the room, and then I'd have to like lower it and push it back again. I don't know, it just feel weird. I also wouldn't really like a standing desk on wheels. Feels like a recipe for disaster, that. So while I've thought about, and I actually quite like the idea of getting a standing desk, just unfortunately doesn't work for me. Oh, I've got a shitload of stuff just randomly lying around in this character's bags. Okay, right. That then is at least most of that decor that we bought earlier syndicated through a few realms, which is good. Check Discord. The whole of Netherlands is blocked at the moment. What do you mean? What, you've had some snow? That's not snow. That's icing sugar, mate. That's not snow. You want to see outside my house? I had to shovel 30 centimetres of snow off my driveway this morning. That's not snow. It's fully packed. So there's no... Make sure none of the other DMs are being leaked. I mean, this, yes, Jack, I agree with you. It is nicely dusted with snow, but that's nothing, mate. I appreciate the Netherlands maybe doesn't get snow as big as we do, but I literally shoveled this much snow off my driveway this morning. No buses, no cars, no trains, nothing can go at the moment. The UK has that problem of the slightest little bit of snow, the temperature goes like below 0 by like 2 degrees, the UK just closes. It just has no ability to handle it. They're just like, right, no, we're done, we're good. It's nothing happens, absolutely nothing. But boys and girls, I'm going to leave it there for today. It is only Monday. I've agreed to go to IKEA with the wife, which is a dangerous excursion any day of the week. So I'm going to leave it there for today. At some point this week, I'm hoping that we'll get a beta build that will bring with it a whole bunch of like more finalized updates to the profession, so we can start really jumping into the deep dives. At the moment, an awful lot of the professions still feel very undercooked and very broken. But my theory here is that they are going to want to have it all relatively polished, minus just, bug fixes by the time pre-patch launches, which in essence means they've got like 2 weeks. They got to get it on the go, right? They got to get shit sorted. So I'm expecting the next beta build to be a pretty juicy one. When that turns up, we can start tinkering on Midnight a lot more seriously. But until then, I'm just going to be flipping and making millions of gold with Decor, because it's rare that there is this good of a gold making opportunity at this point in the expansion. So capitalize. But enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. We'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow's stream is 50-50. I got to sort my taxes. I need to do that tomorrow, so that might not necessarily always be the quickest and most straightforward thing, so we'll see. Tomorrow's streams are 50-50. If I don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you Wednesday, which by that point, we really should have had the beta build, hopefully, maybe, possibly, we'll see. But anyway, thank you for joining. Come say hi on the Discord if you're not there already. My Goblin Guide to Decor is officially out as well. So if you're a Patreon, Gold Goblin over on Patreon, check out the new guide. It's a noob to pro level guide on how to get started with Decor, how to optimize with Decor, and how to eventually end up doing exactly what I'm doing. So it should hopefully help some of you out as well. But enjoy your day. See you next time. Peace.